Assalamualaikum to Madam Munifah. Today we will present about our research paper about code mixing in learning English as a second language. So me, Lukman, Husna, Alia and Umul will present about this paper. So in this research paper we cover about the introduction, the literature review, the methodology, findings, interpretation, conclusion, suggestions, and references. Okay, so the first part is the chapter 1, which is the introduction, will be presented by me, Aisha. So we move on with the introduction. Code mixing is essential in English as a second language education, particularly in Malaysia, where multiple languages are integrated into linguistic expression to clarify meanings in multilingual settings. Traditionally, code mixing was viewed as a deficiency speakers, but it is now recognized as a tool to facilitate communication between languages to help students acquire complex linguistic knowledge. So, embracing code mixing in ESL classrooms acknowledge and celebrate student cultural and linguistic diversity, creating an inclusive learning environment that values unique linguistic backgrounds. And code mixing also serve as a transitional phase, aiding ESL learners in acquiring English proficiency while maintaining connections with their native languages. Thus, this will help them in navigate the complexities of language acquisition. Next is the problem statements from this research. So we have two problems here. Okay, the first problem, English is taught as a compulsory subject in Malaysia from standard 1 until form 5, spanning 11 years with the Malaysian University English Test, MUET, being a mandatory for further studies at the bachelor's level and above. And in Malaysia, we rank third in Asia for high English proficiency, with regions like Perak and cities like Kuantan showing strong English mastery. And these concerns persist about the decline in youth English proficiency over the past 5 years, indicating ongoing struggles for students to master English as a second language. So the second problem is the standard of English proficiency in Malaysia has notably decreased, attributed to flaws in the education system, leading to graduates facing challenges in job interviews and job market competitiveness. So the lack of English proficiency among graduates has resulted in a skills mismatch issues with over 232,000 unemployed graduates in Malaysia, highlighting the need for better preparation of students with practical skills for employability. Next is the research question for this paper. The first one is, how does code mixing influence social interaction, emotional well-being, and also classroom dynamics among students and also instructors? And the second one is, how do students perceive the impact of code mixing on their English language learning, specifically focusing on their linguistic competence and also confidence? So our objective of this research is first to discuss the social and emotional dynamics of code mixing, and the second one is to explore how code mixing enhance students' linguistic competence and confidence in using English. And our scope of study, a total of 30 participants from the course of Applied English Language Studies BE 201 are given an online questionnaire about code mixing in learning English as a second language. The study aims to examine how and why students use code mixing when learning English as their second language. So the limitations that we have during conducting this research is the first one, would be the lack of time. The second limitation would be that no one would be willing to participate in the study by answering the questions. And the third constraint that the researcher will confront during our investigation is the data falsification, FOD. This occurs when the participants do not take the study questionnaire data seriously, and as a result, the participants' answer are invalid and cannot be used. And lastly, I will explain about the definition of terms. The first one is the code mixing. So code mixing is a language mixing involves using multiple languages in a single speech or sentence. It is a common practice among communities. Code mixing also involves consistent linguistic units transfer, resulting in a new code of interaction. This process is common among those who speak multiple languages or dialects and require metalinguistic skills. It serves various social motivations and functions, including coding, clarifying, emphasizing, and also reflecting moods. The second term is first language. The term first language refers to a person's native language, also known as their mother tongue or L1s, which they learn from the birth or infancy. It forms the basis for their early linguistic and cognitive development, and it can also refer to the initial language learned in a specific context. The second one is English as a second language. So English as a second language, ESL, is the study of English by non-native speakers, often used in non-English speaking countries for education or work and also social integration. It distinguishes the language learned from the individual's native language and is associated with language teaching programs and also initiatives. And the last one is bilingualism. So bilingualism is the fluency in two languages acquired through bilingualism, schooling or immersion programs. It improves problem-solving creativity and multitasking abilities. Bilingualism is valuable in today's globalized world where multilingualism is in demand and fields like business, diplomacy, and academic making it a valuable asset. So that is all from me to conclude about chapter 1. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Lumah Hakim, and we're going to move on to the chapter 2, which is the literature review. Milroy and Mushkin, 1995, and Gompers, 1982, discussed language mixing in conversations, including between speakers' turns and utterance, and code mixing blending different grammar systems. Code mixing is a natural phenomenon in bilingual or multilingual communities, allowing natural switching between language to fill lexical gaps or for specific purpose. This enriches communication and language usage in conversation like "I need to comprar leche from the store." Next, we're moving on to the home theories. Code mixing is a linguistic phenomenon where speakers randomly combine elements from different language or varieties often used by bilingual or multilingual people and communities. It can occur due to lack of vocabulary or knowledge. Holmes distinguished code mixing from lexical borrowing, which involve borrowing words from another language. Three types of code mixing include affective function, metaphorical mixing, and lexical borrowing. It is important in sociolinguistic contexts for communicating goals like identity building and emotional expressions. Now, moving on to the previous research, further research is needed to understand the factors influencing code switching and mixing in ASL classrooms, including language proficiency, communicative demands, cultural background, social identity, and language attitudes. This research can help develop effective pedagogical approaches that leverage code switching as a resources while addressing potential barriers to language proficiency, contributing to inclusive and culturally responsive teaching methodologies. Now, these are the types of code mixing. The first one is alternations. Alternation in code mixing involves grammatical and lexical structures from two languages being interchanged within a sentence. This can impact language acquisition, making it more challenging for speakers and listeners. Early code mixing in bilingual children may reflect a lack of control or vocabulary limitations. It can also fill lexical gaps and enhance communication in multilingual environments. Now moving on to the second type of code mixing, which is insertion. Incorporation in code mixing involves combining lexical items from one language into another, creating a blend of linguistic elements within a single utterance. This process can impact language acquisition, making it more challenging for speakers and listeners. In bilingual language acquisition, early code mixing may indicate vocabulary limitation or a growing ability to code effectively. In second language acquisition, it can indirectly affect vocabulary retention strategies. Now moving on to the last types of code mixing, congruent. Congruent lexicalization in code mixing involves using words from different languages interchangeably based on their similarity. This enables bilingual speakers to effectively convey meaning and aids in vocabulary retention. However, it can also impede language skill acquisition, making it more challenging for both speakers and listeners. And finally, we're moving on to the conclusion. Code mixing is a technique where teachers and students mix languages to improve understanding, connect with different cultures, and support learning. It involves using both English and other language to express feeling, identity, or when there's no word for something in one language. Understanding code mixing can help teachers teach English better and make students feel more confident in using English. Thank you.
My name is Nurul Ain Husna, and I'll be covering you guys with chapter 3, which is research methodology. So, the introduction. The procedure and approach utilized to conduct this research study are examined in this chapter. We will start out in this chapter by outlining the research design, the rationale behind it, and the methods for collecting data, including the quantitative analysis approach. And these quantitative analysis approach are covered in the section that follows. The questionnaire, methodology from survey will be used for this procedure. Later in this chapter, the sample strategies will also be taught. So in my research, in the research design, there are two things that we are covering. One is approach, second is the target population and sample. So for the approach, this study utilized a quantitative research paradigm using a survey approach to collect data on participants' perceptions of code mixing, providing valid feedback and addressing the existing research issues. And for the target populations and sample, this research or study, we actually focus more on applied English study program students who are currently studying at UPTM, and this is done by using a convenient sample of 30 participants because we want to have a quick data collection. And for the data collection, like I mentioned before, we are using survey questionnaire, and the aims or this survey aims to target 30 students in the applied English study program using a questionnaire that are adapted from various research. And the questionnaire is divided into 4 sections, which is section A, demographic profile, section B, which is about social and emotional aspect of code mixing, and section C, benefits of code mixing for second language learning, and section D is the probability of code mixing usage. And the questionnaire is divided into like choices options and Likert scale form.
My name is Nur Alias Shazana, and I'm going to present chapter 4. So for chapter 4 is basically a data analysis for the survey that we made. So for the chapter 1 is for the section A is based on the pie chart provided. It represents the gender distribution of the respondent. Out of 30 responses, the majority accounting for 24 individuals, which is 80% are female, and the remaining 6 individuals, which is 30%, are female. The second thing, the pie chart shows that 76.7% of respondents are aged 32 to 25, followed by 18.7% and 3.3% respectively, with the 18 to 21 age group having the second highest number of respondents. The pie chart shows Malay as the most common native language, which is 96.7%, followed by English 3.3% and Mandarin or Tamil as 0% with only 1 respondent. The bar chart shows that English is the most common language spoken by respondents, with approximately 30 individuals speaking it. Malay is the second most common language, followed by Mandarin with 36 responses. Not all respondents can speak both languages. We're moving on to section B. The bar chart shows that most respondents prefer code mixing while learning English as a second language, as it makes class activities more interesting and fun, helps communicate with poor and average learners, and makes them feel comfortable and less tense. However, some respondents disagree, suggesting that code mixing doesn't make English learner more proficient and it can sometimes cause distractions. For section C, the bar chart shows that code mixing helps students make their English language more interesting, improve understanding, facilitates learning assist in daily conversation, and helps describe difficult concepts. It also gives students confidence to use English in class, helps students answer questions about their English level, and causes less loss during lectures. Approximately 50 respondents agree that code mixing helps students answer class questions. And for the section D, the bar chart shows that most respondents use code mixing for effective function, metaphorically mixing, and insertion in their daily life. The first question, this traffic is gila, has 12 responses, while the second question, we need to buat and but ingat have 13 responses. The last question, we went jalan-jalan at the park yesterday, has only 13 responses. So the interpretation for the data from the data analysis, code mixing is beneficial in daily life, especially for students and non-fluent English speakers. It helps them gain confidence in speaking different language and enhance their understanding in class activities. Most respondents use code mixing usually through insertion, where they change words to another language they code mix with. This method ensures they don't feel left behind in class.
I'm Umul Aminah, and I will present the last chapter for this research, which is the conclusion and suggestion. So, for the conclusion, it shows that the study on code mixing in learning English as a second language reveals that most students prefer code mixing for increased classroom involvement. Surveys from UPTM Applied English Language Studies students reveal that while some students believe it can reduce learning proficiency, others believe it helps clarify misunderstandings and demonstrate complex concepts. This suggests that code mixing can enhance student competence and confidence in learning English as they can access more information from their educators. So next, we will talk about the suggestions. The online survey suggests incorporating code mixing in teaching English as a second language to make class activities more engaging. Balancing code mixing with pure English usage is critical to ensure proficiency development. Dedicated English-only sessions and peer support can boost confidence in language use. Establishing groups and forums for debates in both languages can also enhance students' confidence in speaking in their native tongue. So that's all from our group. Thank you.